as you know, this is the 4th forum. We are recording the forum for use on YouTube and to share with everybody, just to prove that we are doing something and that what we are doing is useful. So everybody's ideas, contributions and everything else will be written down and obviously here available for everybody to see. I have had something with sharing something later that I will have to edit out. It's a newsletter, so I will edit that out of the thing, but I think it's important for everybody to see it, so I'll share that screen later. Everybody okay so far? So just remember, this is also the agenda. I will paste the agenda into the chat on Zoom as well, so everybody can refer to it. So quite a long time ago, when we started this, I did a few slides to kind of introduce what community resilience and the forum was all about. So I'm going to run through those just as a bit of an introduction. And what I hope by adding these points to the agenda today is that we can get people talking. So at the moment, I'm just going to run through these slides and then we'll go through each point by point in a second. We can have these screen on just to introduce each stage, if you like. This one is about what is a community and what makes a community. This is about where is a community, which is obviously different to what is a community, because just is a different way of putting your head around it. So again, that will be the second item on the, or the third if you include the welcome onto the agenda. So we can have a quick run through that. It's not going to be complicated, it's just trying to get people talking. And of course, probably most importantly, who is a community? Who's in your community? Who's part of the community? We'll have a quick chat about that. And after we've discussed all of that, we'll talk about community resilience. My little sort of diagrams, if you like, look a bit like they're from a chemistry lesson, but just pictograms to try and get people's thoughts. Thank you for laughing there, Jenny. I can see you.
I have a strange sense of humour. A lot of things make me laugh.
That's good. So, and then we'll talk about how we can work together. We've been doing that a bit, but I think the point of this is that we need to try and work together to make Wellingborough a better place to live and work for everyone. That's the point of the Community Resilience Forum. I don't know what number we are on the agenda by now, but obviously there's pretty much no point in doing all this work behind the scenes if we're not sharing it. So we do have a couple of tools that we can use. Like I say, we've set a website up on the back of this, like a newsletter and also an online forum. But there's another thing that I'm going to show you later that one of our forum members has been doing as part of her group. And of course, as I've just said, we've got an online forum, but we've also got a Facebook group. We're doing bits and pieces. It's all about where we're going with this. Do we want to stay as a community resilience forum, or would we like a broader forum for everybody in the town to sort of come and express their views? Or do we want two forums? We could go completely mad. I think that was it from me screen sharing. So let's see if I can get you all back. Hold on. Okay. That's it. You're back. Fantastic. So, anybody got any questions regarding anything that I've just said? I can see half of you are on mute, so if you are trying to say anything, please unmute yourself. Oh dear.
I'm going to suggest you
come on, Jenny, you've frozen, which
go through them again one by one and we comment. Do you not hear me?
No, say that again,
I suggest
Jenny,
you go
sorry.
through. I suggest you go through them again and we comment as we go. Perhaps.
Absolutely, that was exactly the plan, but I just wanted to run through them to get everybody in the mood, if you like, and to show people what we're talking about. What I will be doing from the recording, rather than trying to write down everything everybody says this time, is actually look at the recording so I can be a bit more interactive with you and take what you're saying down from that. That seems to work. I did a bit of that last time. So, as prompted by Jenny, who I think is possibly going to be our future chair by the sound of it, just sticking your hand up there, Jenny. We'll start. So, let's go back into that if I can. It's a bit clunky, isn't it, this thing, but there we go. Right, here we go again. So obviously I've gone back to that screen, but we know what that is. So the first thing on the agenda, and I have put it in the chat for anybody that wants to refer to all the points, is of course, what is a community? Would anybody like to talk about what makes a community?
Oh, I'll start off. My reaction to that was the spacemen in a rocket having to live together, having to share, not get on each other's nerves, and have a common purpose. If you're in a space rocket going to the moon, you're going to have to be a community.
So from what you've just sort of said, I'm trying to sort of work out that actually a community is people having to get on, basically.
Yep.
Okay.
Anywhere you feel safe, I would have said, whether it's a group or your street or a group where you don't live, but that you go to on a regular basis, that become your family of sorts. Yeah,
no, good point. Good point.
More generally, just maybe people working and living together. Working and or living together.
Yeah, I think Judy said exactly what I was going to say. Thank you, Judy. That's good. Anybody else got anything to add on what is a community? I think we can surmise that unless you're a spaceman, it's a community of people. If you are a spaceman, it's a community of people living and working together in an area.
Or woman, please. Spaceman and woman.
Can I say that I think that terminology has sort of changed now, isn't it? I think space women are now called spacemen as well, aren't they? Or am I thinking about manager and manageresses? That's the one I usually get caught out on by calling female manager manageresses.
I agree. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So everybody happy with that analogy? Okay. Right, so the next one on the list. If I can get this thing to work, here we go. Is where is a community? We've all said it's, oh, go on, I'll let everybody speak, of course.
Place of work or place of where you live.
Yeah.
Anywhere you want it to be, really.
Obviously, there are different sort of people out there, which I think is where I'm trying to get to, is that a community isn't necessarily sort of just where you live. Like there are other things that involve a community, aren't there? Like government, services and businesses.
You have the online community where you can interlink with people.
Mm.
Mm.
It's true. Aren't all of these communities sort of in the same place, though? Does that make any sense?
Are you trying to get one of us to say the community is in your heart?
That's a lovely way of putting it. I was going to say the community is at the heart of everything, really. It's right in the centre, and all of these different things. I don't know if you can see my mouse on your screen.
Yeah.
All of these things here are part of the community, aren't they? So if the community is in the middle of everything, all of these things, government, services, businesses, people, obviously mostly, can sort of join in the community if they wanted to. And of course, it could be anywhere. It could be online, like somebody said, or it could be down your road, or it could be your town or your county, your country almost, do you know what I mean? But obviously, it's people that live and work together, like we said earlier. Okay. Oh, it worked. There you go. So, got a lovely picture of Joe in my top corner there, which is good.
Oh.
Oh. So thinking about sort of possibly what I've sort of the last diagram, but this as well. A lot of people tend to think of a community as somebody else's. Do you know what I mean? Or there are different types of community. If we've got community in the middle of us, there's obviously me, there's you, Joe, there's them down the road, and then there's our community, if you like. Who's in your community?
I was going to say that religions tend to be their own community. There's a sense of belonging within a faith group. And other people do see them as a community with a certain belief system. And they're very distinct.
So that's a them and their thing, isn't it? Which is where I was going.
Yes.
Not necessarily very inclusive, or it's invitational, so anybody can probably join it, but a lot of people might find that fairly uninclusive. So for instance, at the Victoria Centre, we could say that we've got our community and you're only allowed in if you're invited. I don't think that's a very friendly thing to do. Not a very Glamis Hall thing to do, is it, Joe?
No, anyone can walk in here.
And sometimes I do before anybody says.
As long as you haven't got temperature, you're allowed in.
True. I'm 35.9 today. I think that's bordering on the horizontal, I think, but there we go.
I also think that if you're part of a community, for example, you could be part of a larger community too. For example, if I go to the Hindu temple, and obviously it's a lot of practicing Hindus that go there, but there is no restrictions for other people, you know, if they wish to go there. I'm sure they'll all be very welcome. But I go there, and that's one community for me. But I'm part of the Victoria Centre and part of Glamis and part of everything. Yeah. So I'm in the community too. So although you can have little subgroups, you can still be part of a bigger group too.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point. You're keeping very quiet, Lou and Gemma. You look sort of like you want to say something, but there's no need to be bashful.
No, it's fine. We're just listening in, and you know, like we've only been on one forum before, and we found it really useful, and so we're hoping that it will continue because we've got, you know, we've got, you know, gained because like I'm having a meeting with Sky, so I wouldn't have met Sky if I didn't go on here, you know, and so it's just meeting up, and hopefully I'm just wondering what your sort of plan is going forward, and when you're actually reopening the Victoria Centre for us to come down and sort of have your business forum there, or is that too far?
You're skipping ahead on the agenda there, I'm afraid, but that's fine. That's fine. That is something we are going to talk about possibly, and it doesn't necessarily have to be at the Victoria Centre. To say, it's certainly something I want to do, but obviously Joe might say, no, let's have it at the Glamis Hall, or I don't know, Tonya might say something else.
No, I'm quite happy to escape the building. That's fine.
I'm just going by because you used to hold forums in the Victoria Centre, because that's the only place that I knew that you did it. And and there was one at Embankment, wasn't there? I think the Swans Pool. There was one at Swans Pool.
Pavilion.
So
At the voluntary sector forum, you're talking about, yeah, they're starting them up again on Zoom, actually.
all right, yeah, I'm just hoping that we could sort of like, you know, be face to face, you know, rather than Zoom all the time.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
Yeah, Zoom has its place, doesn't it? But it's a lot friendlier to sort of have a cup of tea with everybody and have a good chinwag afterwards as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not all about the agenda, is it?
It might come down to meeting outside in a park somewhere and doing it, mightn't it? But, you know, it is what it is.
You've got the train of thought now.
Well, I think you've all skipped on to the next item of the agenda already, which is how can we work together? So thank you, Lou and Gemma.
Just ganging up on you. That's all it is, ganging up on you.
That's all right, don't worry. Perhaps I'm going too slowly. It's good. It's good. I like it. That's the point of this agenda, is because I thought last time perhaps we didn't sort of interact. So I wanted to kind of get us back to basics and get us chatting as a nice group. The other thing I'd like to point out today is we don't have any politicians with us. So it's a bit different. Obviously, they're all going to be busy knocking on doors and stuff for next week's election. So I'm not completely surprised. But has anybody else got anything to say about who is a community or who is in their community? I think we've had some really good points. What I was trying to get to, and I fully kind of respect and totally sort of agree with what Joe was saying and a couple of other people were saying, is that we're all got our own little groups. Do you know what I mean? I've got a vegetarian group, myself and Judy have got an eco group, but actually we're all part of this community, aren't we? And so all of them and us and me and you could just be us, and we could all work together as community resilience. Have I skipped a screen? I don't think I have, but there we go. So community resilience, what is it? What will make our community more resilient? Sorry, I'm coming back to the agenda again. Sorry, Lou and Gemma. Has anybody got anything to say about what is community resilience?
Coping and surviving.
In what
Either
respects,
well
Gemma?
or not.
Because we could all do that in our bedrooms playing.
Did that come through?
Yeah, it did. Coping and surviving, but I missed the last bit, probably because I interrupted.
And we can all be more resilient.
And I think I had a blank there. So
we can all be, as Judy was starting to say, we can all be more resilient, but what makes a community resilient?
If what I was going to say was we can all be more resilient if more of us get together to help each other and you know, share with lots of us. It gives us more resilience.
Yeah, making sure that people know we're there to support them.
Yeah.
No, good points. Sharing, caring, and letting people know, which is kind of sharing as well, isn't it?
Sharing, caring, and shouting about it.
And you're such a quiet, delicate little flower, Joe. I don't know.
Sometimes.
No, I wasn't being completely serious there, obviously, as you know, but there we go. Okay, if I can get the computer to work, here we go. So that brings us on to what Lou and Gemma were talking about. How can we work together? We've decided that working together, sharing, caring, shouting about what we do is great, but how can we work together? How can we help each other to make Wellingborough a better place to live and work for everyone?
Well, I suppose we could, I mean, all of us are working on different projects, and we could sort of tell each other if we needed any help with any particular things, so that people from the other projects could sort of see if they could join in at all.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's a really good point. So
if
are
we're
we
working,
saying... Go on,
Sorry,
Jo.
I was going to say, if we're working in similar areas, I think we should be sharing dates and things when we're looking at putting on events. I had a meeting last week that a member of the police service was on, saying that they were looking at putting a fun day on in Queensway because there isn't one, and we've done one every year for the last 5 years.
Yeah, I think you're right there, and something I'm going to share in a minute, which is I think the next. Yeah.
Can I
Good show.
thinking about my road? There's 32 houses. That's roughly 100 people, all ages, from babies right up to the very, very elderly. And what has happened is that we have started to talk to each other. I mean, obviously, people who moved in right at the beginning, as at the early stages of the estates, they had a sort of link, a sort of friendship, or certainly enough to say hello. But then when you get people working, jumping into a car, going off to work, coming home, going straight in the house, that means you're not communicating, you're not talking. What I found in the last year, because so many people were either isolated, shielded, or working from home, and then dashing round the estate to get a bit of a break, we are talking. So talking to each other is, I think, essential to creating a community and understanding the community. And I'd put talking to each other as top of the range, because we haven't any projects, we haven't anything formal. We are just being people who talk to each other. And we've been doing that for nearly a year now. That's my contribution.
No, it's good. I'm not sure. Yeah, I suppose that's how we can work together. I thought we'd jump back a couple of steps there on the agenda. You're going in the opposite direction to Lou and Gemma there, I think. But no, you're right. That's because I think the lockdown has sort of improved relations in streets. Do you know what I mean? I certainly talk to people in my street on a weekly basis that I probably spoke to once every month, once every couple of 3 months. Do you know what I mean? So it's a fair thing. What can we do as a group of people of, what are there, 7 people here? Jo's got a hand up.
Okay, so I think word of mouth for the people that are already on this forum, and I mean, I don't know how else we can invite other groups to join, but I already have invited two groups who are very keen to join this forum. And I did say we were coming to the end of it, etc., but they would like to see it continued. They would like to see Victoria Centre or wherever as a base. So we all kind of talking to each other. One is Northamptonshire Sports, because they cover the whole range. And the other one is it Night Shelter or James Barron?
Homeless shelter.
Homeless shelter.
Team challenge. Yes. Teen challenge.
Yes, because I did invite him. I met him this morning at the Victoria Centre, and we got talking, and I said, well, why don't you come on it? And he said, oh, I wasn't really aware that it was on today. I said, well, James, if you read your emails, you might have got something, however. I said, however, it is the last one, but I'm sure if we do continue, it would, if you do join us, it's quite good to get to know what you might need or what you might be able to offer, that kind of stuff.
No,
so there's 2 groups that are very interested already.
Can I ask a question? Are we thinking of continuing on via Zoom or in real time? As lockdown lifts, are we considering real time reality? A proper forum, meeting somewhere, in which case you would need to have money to pay for a venue and all the costs that go with having a place to meet.
Well, Jenny,
but I agree, in terms of having...
Well, you might use one of the venues that we've all got between us.
Yeah, exactly. I think, like I say, Glamis Hall particularly, like over the years, have done an awful lot, like for events that I've held and other people have held, and they haven't charged for that. So perhaps it's somebody else's turn to sort of do that as well. They're giving me the keys to the Victoria Centre next week, so you never know what's going to happen
Foolish
there,
people.
Jenny. I know you're vice chair. Who are these people? Who are these strange
I was
mad
going
people?
to say, I think people need to know that I'm a trustee of Victoria Centre.
Yes, that's
because
what
it
I
keeps
just.
coming into the conversation.
Yeah,
So
no, I did just say that.
I have to declare an interest.
Are you
I'm
not
here
vice
as
chair now?
SofaWise.
Are you not vice chair now?
Yes, I am. Yes, but I'm not here as Victoria Centre. I'm here as SofaWise, which is quite different. I'm a trustee of SofaWise. So
Okay.
the Victoria Centre stuff is at my back for this meeting.
That's okay, Jenny.
I'm
I've got about 2 or 3 hats too, so I know exactly where you're coming from.
Mhm.
As everybody probably knows, so that's good. But like I said, I'm one of the people, one of the selected few that are sort of doing the bookings and stuff for the Victoria Centre over the next coming months. And obviously we've probably got more space than just about anywhere else at the moment because we're a bit empty. Nobody's been able to hire anything at the moment, so there are opportunities for us to sort of have proper meetings moving forward, and that may or may not sort of attract more people. It may, I don't know, we might be able to do Zoom and proper meetings. I don't know how that works. I'm not as technically minded. Yeah, exactly. We do have somebody in Wellingborough Eco Group who knows how to do all this sort of stuff, so perhaps on our first one I'll get him to work out how to do it. You know I'm talking about, Judy, don't you?
I do.
Yes. Well, Simon can do that. And I think actually, to give him his dues, when we had a hustings at Glamis Hall, he was the one that did all the filming and stuff for that. So he says he can do it, so we'll take advantage of him. Or, you know what I'm trying to say. But obviously having meetings is great. And actually talking is a really good step forward for everybody. But what are we actually going to do together? Or is it just simply sort of a sharing platform that we're talking about? Judy?
We need really some sort of, well, perhaps we need some sort of event that we could all do together, something to work towards to kind of focus our efforts. And I know you did sort of suggest at one stage doing some sort of outdoor event, maybe in the Victoria Centre grounds.
Yeah, yes.
And you know, I don't know whether that's something that we could all work towards.
So actually, yeah, what Judy's talking about is something we talked about the other day, Tuesday, I think it was, and I've talked about with a few people at the Victoria Centre here, was having like a market sort of style, sort of fair event at the Victoria Centre, like the next stage on from a car boot sale, if you like, but with sort of different stalls doing different things. So like the Eco Group could bring along its swap shop, a repair club. It could have like a little bit for the Welly Wombles. But there's no reason why we couldn't have lots of different organisations there saying, this is what we do. And it could be a nice thing as people open up. Wouldn't necessarily have to charge for it. So different groups could say, hi, we're here, we offer this. Obviously, we'd need to promote it quite heavily, like social media, posters, whatever needs to be done. Is that something that interests people as something as a starting base for us all working together?
Yeah, there was a conversation a little while ago. I think Marion was looking into doing something in the town centre so we could all have a stall and sort of do a meet the providers event in the big bit of the open bit at the Swansgate Centre, or have us all on the market doing it. There was a conversation a little while ago about a meet the providers event so that all the different services could all get together and have a day. And we did it before we opened up here, actually, when we were campaigning about what we wanted to do, and other organisations, Wellingborough Homes, I think Service 6 were here as well that day. There was a couple of Northants carers, so that it was all in one place. If you needed help for the elderly, the young, or the middle bit, there was somebody here you could come and talk to up at Glamis and find out more about what services were on offer in the town.
I'm going to add, actually, they have done that in Northampton before on the Market Square, and I've been along, and it's really successful. Loads and loads of people wandering through, picking up leaflets, having conversations, finding out exactly what's going on in their local area. So that would be a really good way to inform people and a good starting point.
And at our family festival, we're quite happy for any organisations to come along and have a stall. You just have to have a game for people to play while they're here. Like Wellingborough Homes have done one, and they brought Anglian Water with them one year, and they were doing a survey on people's water usage. But as long as you've got a game or some sweets to give out to everybody that takes part, then everybody will have a go.
I like the idea of
I have,
sweets. Go on,
in the
Jenny.
past, I have been involved in many of the Swansgate events, and Party in the Park. A lot of these events, they are very, very popular. They cost money to put on. In terms of information, what used to run in the past were regular community forum meetings run locally by the local voluntary sector. They've got a bit formal and they've sort of retreated a bit because they are now run from outside the town by a different infrastructure organisation. But when it was local, run by the local voluntary sector forum regularly at least every 3 months, it worked very well because you're pulling in all the local organisations.
Yeah, they're starting. That's what I'm
And it's
saying. They're
local
starting
people
their first
running
one
it.
up- Sorry, Jane. They're starting their first one up on the 13th of May via Zoom. They haven't had one for over a year because I normally attend those to meet and link with various partners.
So can I ask how you hear about that and who's running it?
Okay,
Is it
it's
NVCA?
Nen Valley Community Action, who are funded by the Borough Council of Wellingborough to do the voluntary
Yes, yeah.
sector thing. You need to sign up for their newsletter on their website, and it's all over there.
I am.
And I
am.
It's been on their newsletter, last few bulletins. It's been on the last few bulletins that I've received about it.
Yeah.
And you just send an email to info out saying you wanted to go. Unfortunately, I had 2 other meetings that morning, so I can't go to this one. It was a bit of a popular morning for a meeting, but
Yeah.
so
it's
What
on
was the date
bulletin.
again?
the 13th
was
of
the-
May, 10 a.m. I think it is. Am I right, Joe? You do know it.
Bear with me 1 second. I had it come through again.
I haven't confirmed. I can't go. So
Whereabouts? I mean, this is
It's on
information
Zoom.
for everybody here.
it's on Zoom.
So it's a Zoom.
It's a Zoom, yeah, because they normally do it in Swanspool, but it's actually on Zoom.
So
Lovely,
with that-
because it's got parking, it's got bus access. You can get into it from any area of the town. There's a bus stop outside, beautiful grounds and a beautiful building to hold it in. So
It's on
Pavilion
Zoom,
is
so-
very
It's on
suitable.
Zoom, yeah.
But
It's on
either this
Zoom.
one is on Zoom because
It's
obviously
on
we can't
Zoom.
meet. Nobody can meet yet.
9:30.
9:30 is it? Thank you, Joe. Because I haven't accepted because I can't go. So
Yeah. 9:30 on Zoom. Please confirm your attendance to info@nvca.org.uk and they'll send you the link.
What day was that? Sorry, because I must have missed that in the
Thursday, the 13th of May, 9:30.
Okay, so are they pretty?
Any particular theme that they're doing?
I think it's just a general catch up because they haven't had a meeting for so long.
I know. Yeah.
I think it's a little they normally do when you go to do a little 5-minute timer and you have so long to talk about your organisation and what you're up to, and it goes around the room and then they have a speaker in.
They've got guest speaker Alex Rex
Yes,
from
yeah.
Northamptonshire Community Foundation.
Yeah.
Chance for you to exchange information, update on your services and discuss how everyone is moving forwards.
So obviously the Community Foundation will be a lot about funding, I should imagine then,
Yeah.
finances. So
Sorry about that. I was asked for a key by another member of staff.
But it doesn't necessarily build on community resilience. That's just voluntary organisations coming together. They don't really. I haven't felt it was actually about building community as such. It's just voluntary organisation and a time to sell their wares almost. It doesn't actually. Yeah. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. It's a different sort of meeting.
Yeah, it's helpful if there's somebody new and they've got an organisation you don't know about.
Yes.
Because then they'll stand up and say about it. But yeah, if it's all the same faces and everybody knows everybody anyway, it's a bit of an odd one.
And like you're saying, how many people here didn't know about it? So is the word actually getting out there?
Yeah.
So do we do it? Is it not encouraging? Do you know what I mean? There's all that going on. So 'cause it's been off for so long, so it needs to be pushed again. So because they are funded for another year from the Borough Council to do that work. So
I must admit, I've heard of them, but I've never heard of this forum. But
The MVCA are now part of Serve as well. They've merged.
Yeah.
Serves out with an S, not with a C, because there's 2 serves in Northamptonshire.
Oh, I didn't know
There's a
that.
criminal initiative to reduce violence, CIRB, as well. There's another serve, and I do both of them, so it gets very confusing. Which one are you talking about? The S or the C one?
well, that's how it all gets confusing, isn't it? What you're trying to say, Tonya, is that this group doesn't necessarily meet to discuss sort of anything to do with community resilience, and it isn't perhaps Wellingborough specific. Am I right in saying both of those things?
Well, it is.
I think I was saying that.
Meeting. It is for Wellingborough, and that's what they're funded for, Wellingborough. You do have some Northamptonshire groups come along. I go to the Voluntary Impact Northampton meetings as well when they've got them, if I can get there, and find out things going across Northamptonshire. But it's about the voluntary sector meeting together in Wellingborough. So,
okay.
But it's about getting new groups in, the smaller new groups that have formed due to COVID, and getting them involved and doing all that sort of thing. I don't think that's necessarily getting out there at the moment, the message. So.
Well, from a
Can I
personal
ask a question, please?
Go on, Jenny.
Can I ask Tonya, which organisation are you from?
I'm actually from Northamptonshire Children's Trust, and I work out from Penrith Drive Children's Centre in Wellingborough in normal times. So still,
Right,
we're not open yet, so.
You know what? That's the thing that we didn't do today, is introduce everybody. But I thought to my little self that everybody's been on here before. Does everybody actually know who everybody else is? Yeah. Do shout, because that is a good point.
That's what I'm thinking. I can work out.
Well, shall we, just before sort of people have to dip off, spend about 30 seconds just saying who everybody is, just so, because obviously this is more about networking than it is. Well, it's also about everything else, but it is about networking too. So would you like to start, Tonya, since you're in front of me?
Oh, okay, big mouth. So I'm Tonya Kingham. I'm what's called a locality connector. I'm part of the Early Help Support Service of Northamptonshire Children's Trust. My role quickly is to link in with lots of organisation and partners and things to find out what's out there to support families, children and young people across the Wellingborough, and I do cover East Northamptonshire areas. So, and I signpost and do newsletters and do all sorts of bits and pieces and attend lots of meetings.
Okay, we've had somebody else join us as well. Karen's joined us. So if Karen would like to go next, and then obviously you can pass the ball on to whoever you want. Are you there, Karen?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can, yes. Hello, Karen.
Yes, I'm Karen. What do I say? I have my own business, Karen Support Services, and I've been doing a bit of work for the Victoria Centre, but I also volunteer at the Victoria Centre. Is that enough? I think
that's enough. Pass on to somebody else.
I'll pass on to Joe.
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm Centre Manager at Glamis Hall. We run an over 50s day centre Monday to Friday, and we're also a venue for hire. We hold anything that people want to hire us for, but we're also available for private functions, birthdays, christenings and the rest of it. At the moment, we can only have 15 in the day centre. As of next month, we go up to 30 and then hopefully back to normal in June. And everybody will be here, about 50 a day.
Who would you like to pass on to, Joe?
Judy.
Oh, hi then, I'm Judy. I'm the membership secretary of the Wellingborough Eco Group. Well, that's it really.
You do much more than that, but thank you. Who would you like to pass on to?
I'll pass on to Jaya.
Hi, I'm Jaya, and I work for Dostio, as well as do a lot of voluntary work for the Victoria Centre. And yeah, the Victoria Centre and the Hindu Centre, WDHA, which is Wellingborough Hindu District Association. It's a rather mouthful, so it's, yes, WDHA, Victoria Centre, and whoever needs my help.
Super.
What she didn't say, she's a really good cook.
She's a cracking cook, I can say that. Who would you like to pass on to, Jaya?
Let's go to Lou and Gemma.
Hi, I'm Gemma. I'm Lou. And we're 21. I know, it's like
Go on, sorry.
Basically, we're from Atley Court. We are starting to network and liaise with like police officers and everything like that, making this a hub now, really. And we're going to have a fun day with the police because we want to do the community at this end, because I think Queensway is quite a large area, so that would be a good idea to sort of do it this end as well. And yeah, we just sort of, we've got a hall that people can come. It's only a little lounge, but it can accommodate a few people. So we're just sort of getting out there, seeing,
just trying to build a
yeah,
network basically,
just,
aren't we?
just
Yeah.
building friendships and support networks, and just say that we're here basically, because I don't think many people really understand who we are, and we house retirement, you know, living basically. It's independent living, and we've got quite a few schemes all around the whole country. So
I know you are. I know you are. I used to be deputy chair of governors at both the Hardwick schools and then Olympic when it sort of. I was one of the people that sort of was responsible for calling it Olympic, although I fought against the. Anyway, there we go. So yeah, we used to have quite a bit of our children coming your way and older adults, should I say, going the other way, which is really lovely. Who would you like to pass the ball on to? You got Jenny or me? Basically.
I haven't.
Yeah, Jenny or me. Should we say Jenny?
yeah.
Go on then, don't be shy.
It's got stuck.
Oh, she has,
Right,
hasn't she?
it keeps, the sound keeps breaking up. Right. I'm Victoria Centre. I'm a trustee of SofaWise. I'm part of the interfaith group. We do workshops in schools as well as running the interfaith group. I'm a long-standing member of Northamptonshire Carers Partnership, which is based in Wellingborough. I'm a member of KGH. I do editing of the patient leaflets. That's all I do at the moment. I used to do a lot more. I also run a patient support group for COPD sufferers called Airways.
And of course,
That's all you're getting at the
chair of
moment.
the Victoria Centre.
I'm vice chair for Victoria Centre. Yeah, don't keep rubbing it in.
Oh, you stuck your hand up for it. Okay, fantastic. Well, that leaves yours truly, so you don't get a choice there, I'm afraid, Jenny. I'm Jonathan. I'm, for the next day and a half, the Community Resilience Coordinator for One Wellingborough Plus. I've been working with Jaya, Karen, Gary, Judy and the rest of the Eco Group to support and promote our various community resilience activities. A report will be coming shortly. Some of you may have seen the presentation I did for the Victoria Centre AGM very quickly at the last community forum. I'm not going to do it again today, you'll be glad to know. I'm also Secretary at Wellingborough Eco Group, Treasurer at Ladywell Allotments, and for 21 hours a week I drive a van for Morrison's delivering food. So that's me. I hope you all don't mind me doing that in the middle. I just had a feeling, well, I knew Karen was joining us a bit later. What were you doing, Karen, again?
I was doing singing for breathing.
There you go. I just thought it was important that everybody sort of got a chance to introduce themselves to each other. So we've been going through an agenda of sorts, Karen. It's in the chat if you want to have a look at the agenda. I think Tanya's gone already, isn't she?
Mm.
Yeah, well, she probably missed my bit, but then, like she said, she already knew I was already, so that's good. I will show you the slideshow later, Karen. You lucky thing, you're not going to escape that. But we shall carry on, if you like. We were talking about how we can work together, and some really useful suggestions were coming out. Has anybody else got anything to say, to talk about, or can anybody remember where we were up to on that?
Well, are we going to look at organising a providers day?
Ah, that's the one. There you go. I'm glad whoever said that was Was that you, Joe?
Yeah.
I had the share screen right above your face. Sorry. Yeah, I think we should. I think we need to decide what we're doing as ourselves, what the next stage is for us. But I think that's a really good idea. Should we? Who else is up for organising? Obviously, Glamis Hall is. I would sort of say that us at the Victoria Centre, I certainly am. If I'm working for the Victoria Centre, I'll be up for helping to organise that. Anybody else? Any other organisations? Lou and Gemma?
Yeah, we have got facilities here, but at the moment we're not opening up to the public until like after June. So it'll be that time, then we can accommodate.
I'm thinking it might be worth picking a nice warm day in the summer school holidays when there's lots of people in town, and we can use the market on a day that there's not a market.
You know what? You've just taken the words out my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to suggest. Well, I was going to do it perhaps a bit sooner, but yeah, no, get it out when the kids are off. And like I say, that market sits there most of the time empty, doesn't it? So
it might be worth doing it before the kids break up. I'm just thinking that there's a lot of more adults are off work when the kids break up, so people might be in town more.
Is there not now a community space, or is that still taken up by the large tent for COVID?
I think the tent's still there, isn't it? They're still doing testing down there.
Oh, are they?
I think so, yeah.
Because they were, I know we're going off the point a bit, they had a testing site on the Jackson's Lane car park the last time I walked through there as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, there you go. So, amazing what you do when you walk through a car park.
Yeah.
That's going
Be
down
careful in
fast,
that car park.
conversation. But they had to close.
Can I say that?
Go on, let's have a sensible
Can I say
conversation.
that?
There you are.
For people who've shielded for whatever the reason, I, for one, in the last 14 months, have only been down to town once, and that was last August. So I'm totally out of the loop as to what shops are open, what shops have closed, who's where on the marketplace, etc., 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 because I've been isolated for a year.
Yeah.
So that is something that I'm sure I'm not alone. I'm sure there'll be quite a number of people, all ages, who for one reason or other have not been out and who might be hesitant about going out. We've got to learn to go out again and mix in crowds.
So that might be, what you're just saying there might be some sort of justification for not having it in the town centre, and that having it at a Victoria Centre or a Glamis Hall or wherever in a car park. Like
no, I'm not saying that. I'm not recommending that. I'm just pointing out that some people might still be cautious about coming out. I think the marketplace is the best place. As soon as you put it into a particular venue, it's specific. You've got parking problems, all sorts of problems, and association with that particular building. So the marketplace is neutral.
Okay, no, good point. So, go on, Joe.
No, Judy.
Oh, was that you, Judy? Sorry.
I was just thinking, if we had it in the marketplace, I suppose there always is the possibility that someone could sort of go round, say, for an hour and sort of like talk to all the different people from different organisations and kind of Zoom it to anyone that wanted to join in, and didn't want to be there.
Yeah, good idea.
Just,
No, good idea. The other advantage of the marketplace, the other advantage of the marketplace is we've got the library next to it, and they're very keen to sort of do that sort of thing as well.
Yep. Yep.
Just as a thought. So would we possibly me, anybody else can do this, to talk to Norse about a suitable day that we could do this? And are we thinking May or June? Bearing in mind it's May on Saturday.
Well, I would say after the end of June, because that's when the last raft of social distancing things are supposed to be lifting.
Yeah.
People might feel a bit more comfortable, which is again why I was saying sort of July, August time.
Yeah, I agree with that.
29th of July, the last phases of lifting.
Oh, 29th.
Okay.
No, 29th of June, sorry, not July.
Oh.
Of course, there might be a load of sand dumped in there if the town council get their act together. I'm not sure what's
I
happening
doubt
this
that's
year.
going to happen.
No, but there we go. That's a different matter. So what are we going to call this then if we sort of proceed? Because obviously I can talk to Norse about using the market in July or August, or anybody can. Somebody suggested something, I think it was Tonya actually who's gone. What is it called, this thing? Is it like a voluntary sector getting to know you day? Or should we just call it a getting to know you day? I don't know. It's got to have something snappy to for people to know what it is. I can talk to the newspapers and the radio and stuff.
Getting to know you day is good. It gets away from the word providers, which people may not understand, or catch up after COVID day. just something.
Gemma was looking very pensive there.
I'm thinking.
Are you thinking? Yeah, I just suddenly got a full screen shot of you looking very pensive, which is a bit odd, but
Yeah. I think something like support networking or something like that, something that actually says what we're actually doing, because if we don't, who we are, but what I mean, like we're getting out there as businesses to form communities, so we need to have that in the name, because otherwise no one will sort of understand what we're there for.
Exactly, that's what I was struggling with. Yeah.
And is it just going to be an information day, or is it going to be a fun day as well?
Is Joe supplying the sweets?
I'd have to ask Booker nicely if we need that many.
Could be a community fun day. I think that kind of sounds like if you're going to have, like you had a family day you were talking about, Joe. Is that the same sort of idea?
Yeah, we have one the first Saturday of the school holidays normally. Throw open the doors, everybody comes in. The only thing you pay for is tea, coffee and food normally. But I'm not sure how easy it would be to sell to Norse and the council about doing a fun day in town.
I think we'll track though of what we're actually aiming
Yeah.
We do a fun day. I think
from where we're thinking of is we would have a marketing budget. So we would have like a stall with up, we've got Housing 21 key rings, pens.
Yeah, banners and leaflets.
Yeah, so everyone's got theirs.
Come and ask us what we do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because otherwise we'll be standing there and they're too busy bouncing on the trampolines or something like that, there, and it's just it would be not worth our while of doing that. I think we
in the risk assessments and paperwork I have to do for the council for our family festival, I don't feel like doing it twice in 1 year.
Yeah.
To use down there as well as the field up here.
Karen, you got your hand up.
Yeah, there's a lot of voluntary sort of organisations that could and might like this to come and join in on and promote what they do, because there's a lot of organisations out there that a lot of people don't perhaps know about, like Service 6, WACA. Well, there's loads of organisations actually. You could
you've got a microphone, Jonathan.
Sorry, what was that?
You've got a microphone.
I've got a thing that makes a lot of noise, if that helps. I don't know if I've got a microphone to go in it, but that's not a hard thing to sort out. Could it be a Connecting Communities Day? Or
yeah, that sounds
good. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah.
Joe didn't say anything there. That's unusual.
I said yes.
Oh, did you? Sorry, Joe. I can't pick on Lou and Gemma all the time, so I have to pick on somebody else. Sorry.
That's fine.
Any other suggestions? Jaya, you're sort of on the phone. All right, I won't ask Jaya. Jenny, you're not normally sort of coming forward with suggestions. Connecting Communities Day, is that something that you would attend? That's the question.
I would attend anyway. with
Oh,
some
lovely.
hats on, or I think Connecting Communities is quite a good name for it. I'm just listening. These sort of events used to be routine, year after year after year. There would be this similar events would be put on, and we're catching up. We've had a big break, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
And there's been a way where
She's frozen again.
starting from scratch. Every organisation is starting again from scratch. A lot haven't got anything to spare or are going to the wall. It's going to be a big effort to persuade people to come, but if we market it properly, that this is an opportunity for you to have more customers, more users,
Yeah.
that would appeal, which is why I'm thinking a July date would be better than straight on after the lockdown restrictions are lifted. July, August. I'm quiet because I've been thinking.
I would say
but we are,
from what
we've got to refocus everybody in what they want, what they can confidently do. There's enormous gaps in services, either because people have the company has gone to the wall, or the charity has gone to the wall, or people have passed away. Essential people in the structure have gone.
Yeah.
So in a way, we are rebuilding, aren't we? We're building back again, and we mustn't expect miracles, but we've got to start and then reinforce further on down the line.
So what you're saying is doing it in July rather than August. I know you probably didn't just to say that. I'm probably thinking that. I'm thinking July, end of July.
I think I probably
possibly.
did say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking the sooner the better, because there are places like, for instance, the Victoria Centre that need promoting, basically. And I know sort of other organisations will be in the same sort of boat.
Just having a quick look on the Norse website, Mondays and Thursdays, the market's not in use.
Okay. So has anybody got a preference?
Not the 29th.
Probably a Thursday's a bit more fun.
Thursday would, Thursday'd be more,
Is that
but we'll have to see what
school holiday time? I mean, I was thinking a Saturday event because that's when people go shopping.
There's a market on the Saturday though.
Okay, so that rules it out. So Thursday is a blank day. What's the other day that it's not? Flea market on a Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah, Mondays and Thursdays.
Both are dead days in the centre of town under normal circumstances, but we're not normal, are we?
You speak for yourself.
Things are different.
Hey?
I walked to that one, didn't I?
You did rather. Okay. So
but please accept normal in the way of previous times.
What we are proposing as a group of that hasn't been really named yet, apart from the Community Resilience Forum, is to organise a Connecting Communities Day on a Thursday in July, preferably, well, when the kids are broken up, to promote local groups and services. Am I right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just making it simple because it's always best.
That's fine by me. The only thing is I am going to be away at the end of July, so I'm you know, although I'm happy to help, you know, with things, I probably won't be there if it's at the end of July.
Yeah, I can do the last 3 Thursdays in August, but other than that, July might be a problem because I've got our family festival to organise.
So we've now decided it's August because nobody's
well, no, I mean,
it doesn't really matter, does it?
There's always going to be someone that can't.
Even if I can't be there, I can get someone else to go in my place. So
you're unreplaceable. So
oh, if only that was true.
And if we're coordinating with the library as well, they need to be aware of what we're doing, and that could make it an even better event, couldn't it? If they're doing publicity and advertising it as well.
Yeah, no, yeah. So I've started working with the eco group with the library for the Welly Wombles. So, do you know what I mean? There is a bit of a
Are there
relationship.
any shops at the moment? Are there any shops still open in the marketplace, or are they all defunct?
They're all open, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's any empty units sort of facing the market now. And on the other end of the market, you've got that new cafe from one of the councillors, Ugly Mug.
Yeah.
So he'll be up for doing something with it. I'm sure he's been on a couple of these as well. So we do have friends in that locality that we can sort of lean on a little bit, which is good.
Is that the one near the church? Is that what
Yeah.
you say? That one there?
Yeah, the one at All Hallows.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that used to be Bewitched, wasn't it?
Bewitched.
Yeah, where they started.
Yeah, because they've got a meeting room as well, haven't they? Down in the cellar bit.
It's cold. It's a it's a
Sounds
cellar.
horrible. What have you been doing
It's
in their
possible.
dungeon? Okay, so that's action number 1 then. That's good. That's kind of what we wanted, wasn't it?
If isn't available, then couldn't we use that bit where that cafe and the church is then?
What, in the churchyard, you mean?
Yeah.
Ask somebody.
Yeah, we can ask.
Tithe Barn Place and the Tithe Barn. That's another option, isn't it? Because everybody comes through there. There's a tremendous footfall. What's it called? Tithe Barn Place or Berrystead Place?
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. That probably will cost money though. But there we go. We might be able to talk.
I'm sure you know somebody, Jonathan. Come on.
I'm not actually Delboy, I just sound like I do. I do know that Morrison's, who are next door, would be very keen on helping us out in that particular location, so you never know.
There you go.
Obviously, you've spoken to Sky yourselves, of course.
Yeah, maybe
you've got the new car park out the front of Tresham. If Tresham wanted to get involved in, or the new bit that was a car park where the buses are out the front of Tresham.
Yeah, so there's lots of opportunities. There's lots of opportunities. So that's something we need to formalise. Judy's got a hand up. Go on.
I just want to say that actually probably somewhere like the Tithe Barn would get a lot more people than the Market Square. I mean, from my point of view, I hardly ever go to the Market Square, and I would never sort of be there just in passing. It would only be, I mean, I would be there, for this if it was something I was interested in. But it seems to me a place that's quite cut off. If people go in the town centre, they don't necessarily pass the Market Square, really, do they?
So are we now saying that we'd like to hire the Tithe Barn, which we could then do on a Saturday, which might attract more people?
Yes.
And then we need to look at sort of a budget for that, I would have thought, unless, as Lou and Gemma said, I know someone.
Call him if he finds us.
Yeah. We've got the ground outside of the Tithe Barn.
That's what I'm thinking of, yes.
I think
That's when the building work starts.
I might be able to lean on some of the councillors. That's half the reason why I didn't stand against them this time, is because I actually want to try and work with them rather than just stand against them all the time. So you never know.
Who we all are, they will do us a favour. I'm pretty sure of that. Especially what we've been through with the COVID.
You've got a lot of faith in Norse.
Yes. Yeah. We can ask Alan. Yeah. Yeah.
Do Norse actually run Tithe Barn though?
Yeah. Any venue hire in Wellingborough that's council, you have to do through North. So Swanspool Pavilion, the Tithe Barn, and Fine Community Centre, I think.
People used to use Swanspool, so they wouldn't have had to pay anything for that. And that was before the COVID. Now, because of this pandemic, I'm sure that people would rally round to make sure that the communities are getting back together. And
the MVCA would be paying for Swanspool Pavilion.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Norse wouldn't let them have it without paying.
Oh no.
Well, we didn't have to pay anything to go, so I don't know where they found the funding to
Because
do that.
they're funded by the Borough Council, who pay Norse to run the building.
That's what I mean. So if they know about the COVID and the pandemic and everything, I'm sure that we can plan their heartstrings to actually use the Tithe Barn.
I totally agree with you, and I think we need to try and have a word in Norse's shell. Like, I know a lot of the people down at Norse anyway, you'll be glad to know. So we can try and do what we can. And I think actually having it as an indoor event, if we're allowed such a thing by then, will probably attract a lot more sort of groups to take part. I think having a market stall might put some people off. Not me and you, obviously, Joe, but some of the less hardy people.
Can I go back a bit? Somebody muttered something about building works in relation to the Tithe Barn. Are there some alterations going on there?
There's a water fountain being built at some point.
Yeah, it's external, I think.
Has work actually started?
Not yet, no. Well, they took some trees out. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they cut, and they've got rid of the cobbles as well. That were out the front.
Yeah.
And you can't get disabled access if you come from Morrison's near Croyland Gardens. You can no longer turn left to get into the Tithe Barn because they've put a step in.
Oh.
You're not being very positive, Joe, are you? Really?
Sorry.
You're right, but
they've got a proper.
Gone again.
Barn, haven't they?
They've got a proper barn.
I'm saying there's a proper access on the main door into the Tithe Barn.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a blip. There is access, but yeah.
Yeah, there is.
We would have to go and look at it. Yes.
We would. We'd have to talk about that. So we're now all agreed, all 7 of us, 6 of us, however many are left, that we're going to have a Connecting Communities Day to promote groups and services. I'll get my words out in a minute. In the Tithe Barn on a Saturday in August. Doesn't matter if it's morning or afternoon. Any preferences?
No.
No.
Cool. Okay, fabulous. Could be all
day. All day with refreshments, because there's a good kitchen in the Tithe Barn.
And we could probably make a couple of pence by selling whatever. They've probably got somebody using the kitchen anyway. They tend to have it. But okay, fab. So that's one thing.
Would we be able to have it, like inside and outside? I mean, then that gives an option to people that don't want to go inside, if they're still worried about COVID. I don't know whether they still would be then, but would we be able to spread out?
Yeah, question to ask Norse if they'll let us.
I would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I think if people are going shopping, and then they're not going to be worried about going in the hall, are they? I don't know.
No, maybe not. But it also kind of catches people in passing that might not actually go in somewhere. Just if they see something that interests them outside, they'll, you catch them, sort of thing.
Yeah. Now, of course, if we're talking to Norse, we can invite them to take part.
Yeah.
So they'd be very interested, I think, in promoting their litter picking, not their litter picking because I don't bother, but their stop littering campaigns and stuff like that.
They might well be interested in terms of explaining what their new services will be, because they'll be working for Northamptonshire Council.
They don't know at the moment, but there we go.
No.
We're going to that.
Well, there isn't any option for them. They've got the contract, haven't they? For 2 years, then a review. But they might welcome.
They may just.
The opportunity to explain what they were doing.
Cool. Right, shall we go back onto the agenda? Hold on, I'm on the wrong keyboard, so there's no hope for anybody, is there? There we go. And the wrong mouse. Here we go. Right. So we've kind of covered this one already. How do we share what we and others are doing? Now, that's a great way that we've just been talking about. But how else do we do it? Now, I think it was Tonya whose newsletter that I'm just about to share with you. So as you can see, this is their letter for April 2000 this year. It does feature different organisations' contact details. So this is why I said to you earlier that I'm going to have to edit this bit out of the thing that we do on YouTube. And it's county-wide. But there's no reason why we couldn't do something very similar for Wellingborough. As you can see, it covers all sorts of things. Hampton. It isn't completely comprehensive. So, for instance, the library in Rushton has got something in here, but there isn't anything from the Wellingborough Library. But this is the contribution from Wellingborough. We've got Animals in Need, of course, just up the road in Little Irchester, with a volunteer recruitment day on the 8th of May. Something called Wellingborough Sobs. I'm sure Gary would love that to be GLJ.
I'm sure, I've just seen that.
Yeah, but there we go. So GLJ Theatre have stuck themselves in there as well. Wellingborough Eco Group will be in there as well if I get my myself in gear to get sort of the things that we're doing submitted to them.
So the NVCA do one a week. You get a weekly bulletin from them if you sign up for it, of what anybody who's doing in the voluntary sector. Anybody can submit information. And
is that something that we could do potentially, either as a paper form or an email form like that, or I think I've mentioned it a few times already, on a website form or something like that? Is that something that, is it worth us doing that as well? Because from what I can see is that that's great, but it doesn't necessarily doesn't share it to everybody. I think Jenny was talking before about and like a newsletter that we could give out to people. And you were talking as well, or somebody from the Glamis Hall was saying that you used to do something on the Queensway.
We used to do the Remarkable Queue quarterly, and it was whatever was going on with the different organisations that are on Queensway, different clubs, different schools. Anyone could submit anything. Sometimes it worked, but there wasn't an uproar when we stopped doing it. It's not like people noticed. I mean, it was an A4 4 to 6 page bit that was put through the door every week or every quarter, put through by volunteers. Some people found it useful. It depends what's in it. And so a lot of people get something through their door and then just chuck it in the bin because it's shiny glossy paper. It's just going to be an advert.
Yeah,
or a takeaway leaflet,
or a political leaflet.
Political leaflet, yeah.
We do have Live Local, don't we? I read that cover to cover. It's a mixture of information, businesses. I mean, One Wellingborough is in it still. There's also the residential homes. There's all sorts of information in that, and it's nicely presented. And that could we have something in that?
That's a paid-for advert.
Yeah, it's an advertising magazine. We're talking about perhaps a community directory or something. You can imagine a connecting communities newsletter or something.
But
Lou and Gemma, you're not saying a lot. Sorry, go on.
Go on. Okay. Doesn't. I'll listen.
No, you were going to say something. Karen's waving her hand around. I was just saying if Lou or Gemma wanted to sort of say anything, but I think Karen wants to go next.
I was just going to ask.
Go on, Karen.
That newsletter that you showed us just now, Jonathan. Who's that? Who actually sees that?
That's what I was trying to say, is that it actually only goes through to different organisations. And actually, I don't think it goes through to all organisations, because I think I've seen it once before.
Not one we get.
You get it as well, do you?
No, it's not one we get.
No, so they are doing some work, and there is the basis of something bigger. But like I say, I don't know. Is us doing the same thing worthwhile? Probably not, unless we're getting it out to more people.
Well, I think the thing is, if they can, if they're thinking of expanding their publication where it goes to, then maybe it's well worth us putting information in it, maybe. But if it's only going to a selected few, then maybe not, you know.
I wonder why it's only going to a selected few, you know, whether they would want it to go to more organisations.
They might do. They might do. They have, like I say, they've contacted us for us to put stuff in. I know that other groups do something similar as well. Say Made with Many, Merle, who's been on the forum a few times, has said that she shares different organisations' things. She's done it with GLK. It's going to now be GLK Theatre forever, by the way. She's done that with, I know we will. They've done that with Gary, GLJ Theatre in at Glamis. Do we need, like, one of the things that was said like quite clearly at the last forum was that we should try and avoid replication.
Yes.
Yeah, because actually somebody doing something that's already been done is a complete waste of time and probably more confusing. But from what I can see, there's nothing out there that's available to Joe Public or Joanne Public, sorry, just to sort of tick your boxes there, Jenny, of course, that has sort of that sort of information in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you wanted to do a particular thing, not that there's that much on at the moment, where do you go to find out? I can't think where you'd go. Do you go on Facebook and ask a question on Wellingborough News and Info? That seems to be the only sort of thing that I see at the moment.
My directory.
Your directory.
It's called My Directory.
Oh, I thought you had your own personal directory there for a second, Jenny.
I wish I had. No, it's what?
Your bandwidth's a bit low again,
Jenny. Supposed to be. Yes, it is. It's supposed to be a comprehensive directory of all the groups, organisations, support groups, activity groups in the county. It's very ambitious and it's localised, I believe. But I think we were given the web address as well, but it's My Directory. And I think it's a mixture of county council, NHS funding. They've been appealing for people to put their organisational names and what they do into that. So there's been a big appeal to get the material for it.
And how do people get hold of it? It's just online, is it?
It's online, yes.
Right.
I've just Googled My Directory Northamptonshire, and it comes up with My Health and Care Directory Northamptonshire.
Yeah.
And nothing else.
That's probably it, yes.
So
it should be on, well, the whole thing should be there.
Under My Health and Care Directory.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And that should send you, for instance, to the nearest chess group, if you need that for something to do, a history group, U3A, as well as things that are just health. That's the theory anyway.
That's what I've got, Jenny. That doesn't seem to do any of that. I suppose there's lifestyle.
Yeah, you have to, if you type your postcode in, John, where it says type your location or postcode, stop, under Find Services.
Okay.
Type the postcode in there.
Oh, yeah.
This is where you all learn my postcode. I'm actually using the wrong keyboard again, sorry. There's lots of random things
I've just done it to see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, let's have a go at that. Yes, I do live in Robert Street. There we go.
And then it brings up, so whatever one you're interested in, then click on it and it'll bring up the ones in your area. So click on Children's Services or something, yeah.
Okay, so I could have career support, patient directory, or
carer.
Group.
Yeah.
Carer.
Because you're in cancer.
I think I need a bit of career support. I don't know about carer support, but there we go.
It seems to, though, could include a lot of things that you wouldn't necessarily expect to find under My Health and Care. You know, I mean, why would someone go to that to sort of, if they were looking for a club, you know, or something?
Well, that's the point. It doesn't seem to do any of that.
Mm.
I know that.
Shall I feed that back?
Well, I'm not trying to poo-poo your idea, Jenny, because
It's not my
I'd
idea.
love somebody else to sort of be doing this already, but I'm just trying to develop a niche, or if there's not a need for us to do anything about sharing everybody's services and somebody else is doing a fantastic job already, then crikey, we'll promote theirs. Do you know what I mean? There's no point.
Yeah.
But if nobody's doing it and nobody knows what's going on, clearly we could, as a team, if you like, do it ourselves.
Because I mean, you wouldn't expect to find, for example, our group, the Wellingborough Eco Group, you wouldn't expect to go to a directory called My Health and Care, and if you were looking for something like that, would you? I mean, you might expect to find perhaps Glamis Hall, you know, the over 50s club, something like that, but some of the other things not.
No, you wouldn't be able to find GLK Theatre or.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, Joe, I can't help it. Do you mean so? And obviously things like GLJ, things that people are doing, care and support services, are very vital services. But I bet, have you tried to find care and support services on there, Karen?
No, that won't be there.
No, have you registered them? Have you sent in that's what you're doing?
No, I've never heard of it before. So
because people, you have to. I was asked to put airways in, and I said no, because if we get a lot of people joining, there's just me running it. I haven't got the admin support to take on a lot of other people. If they give me a grant to pay for some admin help, yes, I probably would have said yes to go on this. But they've had NVCA have had the appeal out for people to contribute to this. So you know, they're building on it all the time. So it's a difficult one. Do you use the one that's being prepared and paid for by statutory services, or do we create our own? And there will be some costs, won't there?
There will be, yeah. But we do have opportunities. I was talking to Richard, the governor, chair of the Victoria Centre yesterday, about opening the Victoria Centre on a Wednesday or whatever day it is, one day a week, one afternoon a week to start off with, and offering free cups of tea and coffee to people, and perhaps having that opportunity like a leaflet stand to share everybody's services. And he thought that was a marvellous idea. Do you know what I mean? Like having that time to speak to somebody about that. And the reception at the Victoria Centre is quite good because it has a glass screen between you and the people coming in. So, I mean, it's kind of COVID secure before you've even done anything. So, sorry, Jenny, go on.
That is traditionally part of the service that Victoria Centre offers.
Yes.
They've always been a centre of information for all sorts of things, local population and new arrivals, anything that's needed. Yeah. That's been part of their role.
It's a very small space, though.
Well, I don't think we're going to have queues of people in. It's not like, it's a sort of mini tourist information point. Do you know what I mean? If it was there for people of just this area or the town area to come and use to find out about things, would that be a useful facility for us to set up as the Victoria Centre or as our wider group? Would, like, for instance, Glamis Hall, I think Lou and Gemma have disappeared. Would people sort of get involved with that? Would that be useful to anybody?
Who would it be aimed at? Are you talking about just people that had recently moved to the area?
Anybody, Judy. It's like tourist information, but in miniature. It's trying to get people interested in doing stuff. Obviously, there's a bit of a vested interest there, is that people can then come in and sort of have a chat about the Victoria Centre, if they wanted to, would be open like an afternoon a week, and they can come and inquire in person, because a lot of people don't like to do things on the phone or by email. They could come in person and say, hi, I've got this idea, or I've got this group, I'd like to hire a space or whatever. I could give them details about it. There's no reason why they couldn't find out about everything else whilst they're there.
Yeah.
Good
But
idea,
I
bad
would have
idea?
thought
Go
that
on.
was. I would have thought that is a role for a community centre wherever they are in the town. They should all have this information at their fingertips, whether it's on the Hemmingwell, the Queensway, in the centre of town. That information should be there.
But I bet nobody
And
does at the
under
moment.
normal circumstances,
Yeah.
using that word again, organisations have traditionally produced lots of leaflets to market their services. There's a cost in that, and I think with what I said before about charities in particular being very strapped for cash at the moment, they're going to find it difficult to advertise their services, whether it's Home Start or the faith communities, U3A, services for youth. It's going to be difficult to get things going again.
We have a community notice board in our main
That's it.
reception.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
anybody can come in and put leaflets and posters and
Yeah.
things on it. Then normally people would be coming into groups and classes, so they'll see everybody's posts.
And the supermarkets as well have community notice boards, all of them.
And community rooms,
Yeah.
Sorry, Karen, start again.
The Victoria Centre has always had notices and leaflets that people can take away about college courses or whatever, really. If you know, it needs updating now because obviously no one's been in for a year, but it's always had that sort of thing.
Where was that, Karen?
The Victoria Centre in the reception.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Places people pick up leaflets.
If we roll that back a bit, bear in mind Jenny's just said that nobody can afford to produce leaflets at the moment. If we just had I've forgotten the name of it, Joe, the thing that Glamis used to produce on a quarterly basis.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Just exactly. If we had that, so that we could give it out at Glamis Hall, at the Victoria Centre, at Morrison's community room or whatever, do you know what I mean? For people to find, and we had on it that Glamis is open, like when you have your indoor car boot sales, or they are open at this particular time. And
we used to have a what's coming up in the next few months section on it of what's going on at the church or what's going on here.
Yeah, exactly.
That actually wouldn't cost very much.
No, you could run a few off of a printer quite easily. It's
well,
how
you
you do it.
Printed, actually. You can get them printed quite reasonably, really.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, nobody knows how many of these things will go. So you might only get rid of a handful for the first run. You might get rid of 1,000. Do you know what I mean? Who knows how many of these things are going to go? It might be worth sort of doing a few and then having them in a printable format so that if Joe has 10 out and they all go, you can print another 10 out. Do you know what I mean? Rather than having 200 of them and only 100, only 10 are used.
Email it out, couldn't you, to organisations, individuals?
Yeah.
So
there's no guarantee that organisations will pass it on to their users and customers.
No, but
I used to have, up until 3 years ago, I used to have a delivery round to persuade people to put up a poster or take leaflets of 50 different organisations across the town. Usually they were often shops. Anywhere where there was an open door where people would go in, I would go in and persuade the reception that yes, they would be a good thing to put this poster or this set of leaflets out for people to use. And could they please put it on their website or their email as well?
Obviously, what you're saying there is if we had a nice little leaflet that could go on like a side of a cafe or a shop just somewhere where people go so they can pick up. That would be more attractive to people potentially. But obviously that does cost.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was quite good when we had the eco group, and I think it was an XR stall, where you were getting people to take pictures of, rather than take a leaflet, if they could take a picture of it. So, then they got it on their phone. But obviously, you'd have like a few leaflets as well for people that didn't have phones. But then it kind of cuts down the number of leaflets that you have to give out. If they're just sort of like a main poster that they photograph, and then leaflets if they need it instead.
So you could do that with a notice board sort of thing. It's a good idea, Judy. I don't know what people think about the potential uptake on that. I think people who are like eco-minded would be very minded to do that, but would I don't know, somebody who isn't particularly that technical, I suppose you then have the leaflets for them, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people do, they like to use their phones these days, don't they? If someone's got a phone that does it, they'd probably do it. I would have thought.
Yeah.
You could go mad and have one of those QR codes on them.
QRs.
As well, yeah, and that would be something that people could actually say it's an interactive notice board with a QR code for each organisation. And then they just sort of zap it, and then they're into the website.
Brilliant, yeah.
If we just display a poster with a QR code on it, people might be, oh, what's that? And be more interested in it.
Is that our second action?
I'm going home. I haven't even got a smartphone, so I don't know what a Q code is.
QR, come on. Even I know what it is. Yeah, even I know what it is, and that says something. Right.
But I mean,
what is it?
but also
what is it? You see, I can get away without the COVID passport because I won't be able to read anything if they do it by Q codes.
You could put the website on as well. I mean, most people would understand the website address, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, you'd have to put that on, yes.
I'm really sorry, guys. I'm going to have to disappear. Sorry, John, I'm going to have to disappear.
No, that's fine. Thank you very much for your attendance today.
That's okay. I've pushed it for as long as I can.
You've done well since you were supposed to be leaving 38 minutes ago.
I know. I've done quite well. Let me know when you've got minutes and things, and then I can read out with what I've missed afterwards.
Yeah, will do. Will do.
All right. See you all soon.
See you later.
Bye. Bye.
Right.
So we've lost quite a lot of people now, haven't we? Is it going to be difficult to carry on without them?
Yeah, we'll do the last little bit. That's a QR code for Jenny, by the way.
A maze. Find your way around the maze. Can you get out one side and out the other? That's a good logic question.
You simply zap that big, horrible looking thing there, which looks like, a maze, as you say. And it takes you to a website. It's as simple as that, really. It's like a barcode for your phone. Instead of getting a can of beans, you get a website. It's very technical. Anywho, we shall carry on to our last point. So is that an action, basically, trying to produce some sort of newsletter and an interactive, this will confuse you, Jenny, an interactive notice board?
Sounds like quite a good idea. Oh, you're frozen.
Have I? Am I just?
Oh, no, it's all right. You're back. You're back.
I think I was just being very. If I stand like this for a bit, will that confuse everybody?
Yeah, but you're just being very still.
Sorry, just trying to lighten the mood.
I may well be behind the times, but I'm all in favour of using any updated technology, things that appeal to, well, all sorts of people. I'm not dismissing it. I'm just saying, for me, my personal choices are that I don't have a smartphone. I have an emergency phone, but it's not a smartphone. So that suits my needs, but I'm not going to hold you back on any ideas of modernising and cashing in on modern technology. Does that help?
I think so.
But there are people like me. Don't sound so doubtful.
I I wasn't doing that at all for you, but there we go. Can I
Thank
remind
you.
those that are left that we do have a website already that we can use, that I've sort of developed, that could be used sort of instantly for this. And I've obviously got people like Glamis Hall's information. So we could use our QR codes in association with that, and also replicate this paper newsletter with a newsletter on this website. Does that sound like a good idea or not?
Yeah, yeah. Might as well spread it, you know, everywhere that we can spread it, really.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Right, if this lets me, here it goes. Jenny, particularly, you love a forum, but what is the future for us? Technically, this is the last one that we are doing, but obviously we can carry on doing other stuff, be it a focused community resilience forum or be it a general forum. What do people think? So we debated the last thing for a long time, but do we want to sort of carry on? Do we want to do another community resilience forum? Shall we start there?
Well, if we're aiming towards this event, the Tithe Barn, then I suppose perhaps we need to get together to perhaps discuss that at some stage. So that could perhaps be the next focus.
Okay, so you're proposing that we have another community resilience forum in the same sort of format, because that would basically be what people understand. Bearing in mind, we've got a few people that aren't here today.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was just thinking,
sorry to interrupt. We may actually attract more people next time because they're not fighting an election, and they might be quite keen to kind of get involved with stuff. Does that make any sense? And other groups might be wanting to jump in because things are opening up. So
yeah, the first week you had quite a lot of organisations, didn't you? I remember that it was really busy the first time you did.
We had it, yeah, we had 20 plus. Last time we had quite a few, I think last time. The second time was a bit quiet like this one. It goes in and out. I'm not so sure that a Thursday afternoon is any better than a Friday afternoon. I think Gary, who suggested the Thursday afternoon, who isn't here.
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy to go back to a Friday afternoon if that works for people.
Can I comment that?
Yeah, go on.
Karen, have you finished?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk over you. Yep.
No, it's okay.
When you're organising something like we're thinking of doing, it needs a lot of organising. And we're going to need, I would have thought, a small group regularly meeting to keep tabs on it, because there's so many aspects that you have to cover.
Okay.
Invitations, bookings, costs, insurance, perhaps.
Possibly.
I don't know whether the forum has insurance, public liability, that sort of thing, or whether that's a requirement of the hiring.
Just needs to be checked out, doesn't it, anyway?
Yeah, but if you're going to hire something, you know, are you going to, well, there's loads of issues. So I would think that a small group needs to keep meeting in order to plan it. Otherwise, it'll fall on one or two people doing the whole lot, probably at short notice. There speaks the voice of experience.
There's only 4 of us left on the call, so that is 1 or 2 people, isn't it? But you're right.
Yes.
You're totally right. But like I say, I think the question was, what do we want to do as a future thing? Do we, like, I think we've kind of talked ourselves into doing another community resilience forum, or have we? Or do we want a wider forum that's for everybody? Because some people think that the community resilience forum is just for organisations. Does that make any sense? So as a forum could be just for everybody, which is why.
Yeah, it should be for everybody, I think.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why I kind of put that logo there, which is just as Wellingborough Forum. It could be for anybody, couldn't it?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
community is just community, isn't it? Community is people, so it matters really what you call it, one or the other.
But I suppose, you know, to get more people involved, they'd want to sort of know, you know, why they were coming to it, what, you know, what the aims were, and you know, the purpose of it, really, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
before
exactly.
they came, I mean, I know, you know, when they come along, you know, we sort of discuss that kind of thing, but you know, no one's going to just come along, sort of see that and think, oh, I don't know what that is, so I'll, you know, go along anyway. I mean, or maybe the odd person would, but not many people.
Or will they? Yeah. So I don't know. What I'm trying to think is it sounds very much like we need to sort of have the Community Resilience Forum continuing, but if we wanted to expand it, potentially to have a general forum as well, or am I sort of doing forum on forum on forum?
Yeah. Don't do that.
Go on, Jenny, you said don't do that. Why shouldn't we do that?
Too much work, and people will get confused which forum is doing which. It's better to have a specific forum for a purpose. In the past, Wellingborough has had a number of very successful forums. We've had an older persons forum, specifically for older people. There was the disability forum, where someone like Karen's Services perhaps would be running that. There's been a young persons forum. So people knew what the forum stood for. And then every so often there'd be just a general stay connected, get together, like the sort of event that we're thinking of doing, which would be for everybody in the town. And from that, people would hive off into the other forums. But I'm talking about quite a long time ago. And then when grants and money ran out, the forums gradually disappeared.
And of course, before social media sort of was a big thing. Social media's taken an awful lot of air out of things like forums.
Yes, actually, that's another one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
I think community forum, Wellingborough Community Forum.
Community forum.
Yeah.
Not Community Resilience Forum.
No.
No.
Well, that's me. I think resilience, a lot of people don't even know what that means.
Any
For
ideas,
me,
Jenny?
resilience means,
Go on.
for me, with other things that I've done, resilience means emergency planning. And there is, of course, the County Community Resilience County Resilience Forum, which is exactly for COVID. So I think the word resilience, as Karen says, is not necessarily. I just like Wellingborough Community Forum.
Okay. We've lost basically a couple of the partners off the call already, but we have a project called One Wellingborough Plus. Is that a project that I should have asked this at the front, which is why I tried to start off with the presentations and things. Would that be something that we could do as a voluntary thing? Say, not call it One Wellingborough Plus, call it Wellingborough Plus or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Would that be something worth doing to try and unite different parts of the town, or is that just making it confusing?
I think that's making it confusing, isn't it? I mean, isn't the aim of the One Wellingborough Plus project the same as what we're aiming at by having this, you know, get the day, you know,
of course. Yeah.
Sort of networking day kind of thing. Yeah.
I'm just trying to sort of work out what we are and what we're trying to sort of call ourselves, because literally after tomorrow, the One Wellingborough Plus project finishes. So we won't necessarily have a body that runs this. Do you know what I mean? There has to be somebody that runs this. Clearly, if I'm working, sorry? You.
I said you.
Been me anyway. So there you go. Yeah, it might be called this, but
So can't it just be called the
Wellingborough Community Forum.
well, what was
Yeah.
it you were going to call the day? The community
Connecting
remember.
Communities Day.
Connecting Communities, yeah.
Got a feeling that's something that's already sort of a thing, but let's have a look. I'll have a look on the other computer to save, keep on share screen sharing, everybody.
Yeah, I think there is something called Connecting Communities. I think it might be.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's just stick with Wellingborough Community Forum with all the connotations of what community is. Forum is somewhere to,
Oh, lost
and
again.
the area that we're covering is Wellingborough.
Yeah.
Marion's just come in and she said there's something that's already going called that name. So maybe we stick to
Wellingborough Forum. Yeah.
Resilience Forum. And I don't know.
This is the thing, isn't it? You can sort of step on people's toes. And there are quite a few groups on Facebook, for instance, that are already called Welling Community, this, that. And so can we define something? Say we're going to start the meeting at 3 and finish at 5 on Thursday, the 27th of May. May work for people, may not work for people. Is everybody happy with that that's still on the call?
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, it's now in my Google Calendar. I was just about to write Google Calendar. I'm in caps lock anyway. Okay, I'll do that in a sec. Okay, all it remains for me to say is to thank everybody for coming. I think we've done an awful lot in our 2 hours. And if we can do half of what we've said, we've done well. So if anybody has a particular request for a meeting before then, the Zoom link for this meeting is actually a recurring one. We can have a meeting anytime with this link. So just a thought for anybody. Jenny, I know you like a meeting, and I know you do too, Marion. But otherwise, we'll see everybody on Thursday, the 27th of May at 3 o'clock.
Can I comment on that?
I wasn't being rude. I was just.
Can I comment on that?
Yes.
No, I know you weren't. I'm just saying people don't drop easily into meetings or forums or committees. And very often the first few times they come, they're absolutely tongue-tied. The trick is to sit and listen, like I did for years, and then you gradually find out what the processes are, how committee systems work, and all the little bits that go with it. It's not, well, certainly for me, it's never been something that I.
You froze at the vital time there, Jenny, again.
Sorry?
You froze just at the vital time again. It's something you,
That's a good excuse for not listening.
Lend your bandwidth, that's it. Okay. Right, well, as I say, I think we've probably had our time. I know Caroline's desperate to go home, bless her. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and I shall see you in 4 weeks' time at 3 o'clock, unless there's any other requests. I can be contacted by email on the usual one, of course. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. See you later.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. See ya.
How do I leave?
Bye, Shushi. I'll end the meeting for you. Here we go.